shot being placed to follow this up. I like that play by Firebathero actually, because oftentimes you just end up, when you end up in vulture heavy builds like this, you end up with too few siege tanks and then you just get pressed out by that observer. Your 4 siege tanks get killed by, I don't know, a Psy Storm, something like that. But yeah, just pressing forward steadily. That shuttle is not going to be able to breach against all of that. It will be able to stop things short, but you can see that Arbiter is, it's really not going to be all that effective without a stasis, and that stasis is going to be a long way off, because you can see all those troops completely have position here on that lower ramp, and you can see Jaehoon just doing whatever he can to just drop to stop Firebathero's advance. More tanks coming in field. Firebathero's still not taking a second gas and still not taking an expansion. Really just, he's in a good position to do so. Not quite sure why he's not doing that. I think he can actually keep the vulture production up here, take another base, and just and still have enough mines, enough siege tanks flooding down to really not worry about that Arbiter that's going to be coming out. I feel like he's got this pretty well sealed, and it looks like instead he's just going to keep pressing this forward and really wants to take the match here rather than holding this back. And there's not, he might be able to do it because there's not a lot of Dragoons there in the way to really stop him, honestly. That's a really light Dragoon count, and he's only got that one shuttle otherwise, and I feel like a large enough vulture force could just run up with the siege tank supporting along that right hand edge with that barracks to spot. He should be able to. It looks like he actually is just going to seal a turret to the north. Jaehoon doing an excellent job of just dropping zealots on the low ground though and stomping that every time it tries to go up, and trying to guide it up there. It looks like he is going to be able to get two. Loses his Arbiter though, or loses his shuttle I should say, but he does have that Arbiter in play, and it looks like he's got a lot of siege tanks coming up to support, and I think he's got pretty much a death grip on Jaehoon's base, and it looks like he's going to try a nice little mine drag though, going outside detection range, and that was some beautiful micromanagement there by Jaehoon, using kind of the cloaking here to clear those mines on the forward field. It looks like he's going to be able to mine drag and take a tank out, and that was, I gotta say, that's very effective use of that Arbiter, and that was absolutely beautiful. That is not easy to do, and he's doing this glamorously. I gotta say, okay, those zealots not going to be long for life. And again, I think Firebathero should actually just be content with the position he has, with all of those siege tanks, with all of those vultures. Just take an additional base and keep an eye at this stage, or at least take a second gas, which he still hasn't done. And it looks like the mine drag's continuing. So, and I got to say, doing a really good job of that, but yeah, just stay in the detection range you have, get some more gas, maybe even get a science vessel out in the field, but Jaehoon is microing this really well. Firebathero stomping on that very quickly with a comsat, but you can see Firebathero's not letting up. He wants to end the game here with this. He knows, I guess, that 2 base versus 2 base, he should be able to starve and win, but honestly, he needs to be careful with those mine drags, because the mine's dragging in his own troops. He just lost, what was that, 7 vultures for 1? That can be absolutely devastating. And ooh, some Dark Templar getting into the mix, running up. Looks like he is going to be able to clear 1 turret. The Zealots going all the way down, not going to be able to get on top of the siege tanks, but they are going to be able to stop the vultures. But again, the vultures are cheap right now, very cheap, and he's ending up losing a lot of troops. And this is a very intense micro match, back and forth. The Dragoons trying to press forward, trying to take that turret out. Looks like they are able to, but so many siege tanks coming up to support, and there should be, you can see the vultures coming across that mid position, that mine completely denying that that 3 o'clock base. And that's going to be key for Jaehoon, because honestly, he's just hoping that Firebathero is not going to dedicate the troops to deal with that. And I almost feel like this is a bit of a, not a cocky maneuver, but a bit kind of showing his hand. He's saying, I'm going to be able to break you, I'm going to be able to get ramp position with my 2 arbiters and a good stasis here before not too long, and you're not going to be able to hold this contain on me. And again, Firebathero is going to end up in trouble if he does not take a base at this stage. He's going to end up falling behind because Jaehoon's going to be able to break out. He will be able to get stasis, and actually I take it back just through some beautiful mine drags, and Firebathero overextending himself. He's able to breach very easily, actually, I would say, just moving a bunch of mine dragons across, more gateways going up. So Jaehoon's actually going to try to win this just off what he's got right here, and he's just assuming he's going to be able to break this and somehow defend that 3 o'clock despite all the tanks that are kind of providing evidence to the contrary. Keep in mind, there's also that shuttle at 9 o'clock. Okay, there's a good stasis, but there's still, I think, too many siege tanks to really press forward against this. And I still don't think Jaehoon can really take that 3 o'clock position with any confidence until he breaks this contain, because as soon as he plants a nexus there, Firebathero will just send some vultures in, and he has nothing to defend it, essentially, out in the field. And it looks like, yeah, Jaehoon not able to breach. Firebathero is going to hold here. Jaehoon getting a little bit too aggressive right there, I would say. And now it just expended 2 stasis and didn't really get a lot for it, and he does not have a lot of Dragoons Dragoons here. Looks like he's got 2 Dragoons. Firebat Hero knows it is going to be able to go in, going to be able to nail this natural secondary with all sorts of vultures, and you can see the frustration on Jaehoon's face right there. And again, I think that was a little bit overextension. He's like, oh, I'll be able to take this 3 o'clock no problem in a minute here. I just have to. Maybe he's just saying, okay, I need to assume that I'm going to be able to, because otherwise I'm just gonna get completely clobbered in this fight. And it looks like that is turning out to be the case. Firebat Hero able to easily sneak in the vultures, but Firebat Hero still sticking to just 2 bases, still determined to win this just on a 2 base versus 2 base fight, using the efficiency of the vultures otherwise to really take this match. And he still hasn't built anything, doesn't have a Goliath out in the field, doesn't have anything else. And there's that 6 o'clock base now being taken. This is what I was talking about earlier. Unless he breaches that containment, that siege tank just going to walk right up. Actually needs to make sure he's focus firing on that Nexus and not that pylon. But that siege tank can walk right up basically unopposed, and Jaehoon really can't get into position to take care of that. He does have 3 Arbiters out in the field. Looks like a couple Dragoons, but there's just so many siege tanks. It looks like there's almost a siege tank per Dragoon here in this contain. So things not looking good for Jaehoon at all. Yeah, that base getting taken out, an Arbiter sneaking around and just showing that in open field. This could be absolutely disastrous, because if Jaehoon ends up getting a recall in that back edge, I don't know how many defenses that Firebat Hero is prepared in that back corner to really defend against this. So if he can run up with a recall, he might be able to wreak a lot of havoc actually over that natural secondary, maybe even go into the main, get some damage done there, at which point we'll see Firebat Hero. The thing is though, he's got to it's going to be really I don't know what the word for it, dicey here. He's got to, it's kind of a gambit. He can't dedicate a lot of forces with this recall. It's really got to be a skeleton crew, because if he recalls too many troops forward, he's going to end up losing basically all control in the situation forward. And Firebat Hero realizes this. He's just going to continue pressing this attack forward, just going to make sure that he can't dedicate the troops to any form of recall and taking position, but getting overextending himself again a little bit too much and ended up losing a lot of these siege tanks. Jaehoon looks like he might be able to break out with this attack, moving forward, keeping the turrets down. There's only 3 siege tanks back. Firebat Hero dedicated everything with that, and it looks like more vultures rushing down to try to stem the flow, but doesn't look like it's going to happen. There's still 2 siege tanks to the north, but honestly the reinforcements should be able to break through that. It looks like Jaehoon able to break through, which is kind of a posture right there, and really that's all that was, is sending that Arbiter out there in posture, making Firebat Hero bait forward there. And beautiful positioning. Actually still going to maintain this just with those 2 siege tanks. Firebat Hero finally taking a 3rd base at the 12 o'clock. But really, Jaehoon's made some significant progress here, and just a forge. That's all he's showing there at the 3 o'clock. A forge and a mine, but he's still in a lot of trouble. I gotta say that was impressive by Jaehoon, but it's not going to win in the game right now. Firebat Hero still able to maintain. It looks like, although I think he can breach out here any second, because this is not much of an attack force. If you can get some speed zealots in there, but still. Right now, the 12 o'clock base producing for Firebat Hero, and it looks like this Arbiter might be able to run up and recall. No, he's got a lot more, because basically Firebat Hero is in a defensive stage. He cannot really press forward and provide a lot of just pure defense, or I should say pure attack to run forward. So this recall is now possible essentially, and that Arbiter moving in, making sure more forces have to basically stay back. There's the recall. Wow, okay, 1 mine going off, and that's not where I expected that recall to go, but it looks like he's going to do it right over the factory lines, killing a lot of the vultures, killing a lot of the troops here, and actually very successfully doing so, recalling a lot of troops. A simultaneous drop, it looks like, to the 12 o'clock, able to get a couple zealots out. Looks like he's going to end up losing that shuttle. No, actually going to keep the shuttle with those Goliaths, and another recall over the natural secondary to take care of a tank right there. It looks like he sacrificed an Arbiter to do it, and this is absolutely genius play here by Jaehoon, and that base looks completely desolate of attack forces. Firebat Hero does just all of a sudden out of troops, I think because his main got mined out and he just didn't take that 3rd base quickly enough, and now just looking like he has nothing to defend against Jaehoon. Jaehoon wiping everything out, just those 2 Goliaths here in the back edge to try to defend against this. The SCVs fighting against, and having to pull all the siege tanks off the front line. Jaehoon has opened up the front door. His main is mined out. His natural secondary is still producing for him, but he's wreaked a lot of damage, and I think he's in a good position to take this match, and I'm not going to say he's won it right yet, but never mind, I take it back. I think he just won it with that beautiful stasis right there. So those tanks with the reinforcements, I don't think they're going to be able to wipe these Dragoons out before they take down a factory or 2. So Jaehoon, through some beautiful posturing with Arbiters and some nice recalls, doing a fantastic job to really not just come back in this match. I think he's going to take it here from this stage. So keep in mind, it's still 2 bases versus 1. Jaehoon not able to establish an additional base, at least not that I'm seeing anywhere in the map. So Firebat Hero not not at least statistically completely out of it, but honestly, I think Jaehoon's got the death throttle on him. He's got a pretty significant supply advantage. Firebat here is going to need to rebuild these factories someplace, and as soon as those units are popping out, they're immediately getting